Hi there, and welcome to another interview today. Got the fabulous Jackson John with me, somebody that was requested by a few people messaging me and saying, can you have him on? Seems like a wonderful guy. So here he is, Jackson. Hi.
Well, thank you for having me, Stephen. Let's get into it, man. Let's tell these people why they need to eat meat and nothing but.
Absolutely. Okay, well, you set me up for the first question then. So why did you become carnivore?
Where do I start? Okay, so to preface it perfectly, I got into the sort of bodybuilding thing. I'd always been quite slim, and I went on what I guess they'd call a dirty bulk. And man, if I'm honest with you, yeah, I gained some muscle, but it wrecked my health. And it's probably the most consistently I'd eaten carbohydrates in my whole life, And yeah, to put it lightly, it just obviously I gained a lot of fat. My mental health started to deteriorate. And the worst thing was, when you get that negative mental image of yourself, like I started seeing myself as a fat guy. And I was like, wow, this is really bad. Now, to backtrack slightly, I had actually done a 30-day carnivore challenge previously, but this is when I was like 70 kilos. So you can imagine I was fairly lean. And then I did carnivore, and all of a sudden I've got veins everywhere. And I was just like, okay, cool. This is incredible, but it's the opposite of what I need right now. So then many years later, when I'm fat, riddled with inflammation and just in pain, I was like, maybe I'll give that carnivore thing a try. And so after a couple of failed diet attempts of eating the usual, your usual standard diet, but reducing the carbs and all this, I was like, why am I fat and hungry now? And I still haven't lost any weight. Like, this just doesn't make sense. So then I thought, let me try this carnivore thing again. And yeah, the results spoke for themselves. The pain in my hips and my knees that I'd had for the last sort of few years gone. And I just felt incredible, to be honest with you. So it was one of those ones where I had a little bit of faith to start, and then yeah, the results just started speaking for themselves, really.
Excellent. How long ago was that when you took carnivore up for proper?
I'd say 2 years ago.
And do you think that in that 2 years you've just continually seen improvements in everything? And what are those improvements?
Absolutely. So, with full transparency, the first time that I went carnivore properly, I did the 30 days. And in that 30 days, I mean, I sent you my weight loss chart yesterday, but it was 13 kilos that I lost in a month. And I was just like, what? But the problem is I got cocky and I thought, okay, cool, I can have chili con carne again. So I went back to a standard diet and the inflammation came back. I started getting fat again. And I was like, right, okay, the diet really is magic. And I just need to leave all this other stuff alone. And then since then, of course, my body composition has improved. I was suffering with very severe PTSD because of some stuff that I used to do when I was younger. And it's cured that, I no longer suffer with that. My sleep's improved. The joint pain that I mentioned, that's gone. I mean, anything that was ailing me has gone. The only thing that hasn't returned is my hair, but I live with that. That's fine.
Well, it's a great beard, by the way. And if you're listening just on audio,
See?
it's worth looking on YouTube just to see the beard. It's fantastic.
There
One
you
thing
go.
you skimmed over a little bit there, well, actually, I think it's a really big thing, is mental health.
Massive. Massive. So, yeah, as I said, I had a PTSD. My anxiety when I'd go outside and that would be horrible. And for anyone that, again, if you're listening on audio, it's probably quite funny to hear me say that because I'm a 6 foot bald geezer covered in tattoos. But honestly, when I'd go outside, I'd just be thinking, this is awful. Like I felt like everyone was looking at me and I don't know why I feel like this. And then when I stopped eating carbs, that went away. And I thought, surely this is like some sort of placebo effect. And then, as I said, when I went back on the chili con carne, the anxiety returned. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting. Like, it really does make a massive difference.
Yeah, did it made a difference to you? Did other people notice the difference?
My girlfriend mainly, um, because she would be, as I'm sure you've known, if you've been with anyone that's sort of got anything like that, if you're their close proximity person, you're going to feel the effects of that. And she would always ask me like, "Oh, why are you nervous?" And I'm like, "I'm not nervous. I've got PTSD and anxiety. Like, I'm just not in a great place." And then when it went away, she was like, "Oh, we can actually like go outside and do these things." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. That's all I ever wanted." So that was really big. And seeing the change in her, because now I could actually be the man that I wanted to be for her, that was massive for me.
And have you always worked out and trained in the gym? Is that something new?
On and off. I'd always wanted to. And, if I can be frank, it was, I'd had a long, long battle with cannabis and that sort of thing. And that was what always held me back from progressing, because the drug addiction, it just, I'd be in the gym for a couple of days and then I'd be off doing all this other stuff. And it wasn't conducive to that. And so I'd always tried to be disciplined and be this person, but it was just never allowed me to do so, because that was in the way.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I understand why people alerted me to you is because your Instagram is very transparent. So I think you said something about you were having trouble getting your stomach to be as flat as you like. So I think you got there in the end from your before and afters. What was going on there, do you think?
Man. Do you know what it was, if I'm honest? And I'm actually the perfect person to ask about that. You see the carbohydrates and getting off the weed, it was the same thing. Like, it's literally an addiction. So, as you'll know, now, if you've eaten, let's say, 250 grams of a nice sirloin and some eggs, you can do what you want to do for the day. Maybe in the evening, you might think, do you know what? I'd like a couple of burgers with a bit of cheese. And that's you for the day. It's not this constant thing. As I said, the carbs, the drugs, it was the same thing. It was this mental battle where I'd find myself eating. I'm not even hungry. Why am I eating? And it's just this constant thing. Then once I went carnivore, man, that changed so fast. And it was funny because when I actually went carnivore, we were talking about the first time properly, I was working in a bodybuilding gym. And all these guys around me, their coaches, their trainers, etc., etc. And I'm there, 97 kilos, rolls, like, proper fat. And I was like, what do I need to do, to get down to like 15% body fat? And they were talking about Stairmaster and cardio and calorie deficit and all these words that we're all so familiar with. And I thought, I don't want to do any of that, man. Like, I really don't. And I was like, let me just see what happens if I just eat burgers. And then I wish you could have seen their faces, man. It was priceless. Like, they were like, are you doing cardio? I was like, no. They're like, are you doing? And this is the other thing, is I actually have proof. So I screenshotted my MyFitnessPal because I was tracking it, just like I guess the bodybuilder in me wanted to know, what am I eating? And they said to me, oh, you need to be on like 2,500 calories. And I actually ended up on nearly 3,000 calories every day. I was eating, like 200 plus grams of fat a day, 150 to 300 grams of protein a day. Somehow, magically, I've lost 13 kilos in a month. And it was like, okay. Okay.
I experienced that
And
myself
then,
because, yeah, go on. Sorry,
really?
carry on. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, so that was what actually led me to get into, a very good body composition. I would estimate around, when I was 27 kilos up, a lot of that was probably fat. And it's hard to estimate percentages, but I would imagine it was around 30% body fat and then probably down to around 17 to 18%. I got down to like where I'd have veins in my biceps and stuff like that, even without a pump in the gym. So maybe nearer 15, you never know. But I got down to around that within 4 months, and I didn't do anything different with my training. I didn't do any extra steps. I just ate burgers. So, yeah.
Yeah. And just to clarify for people on the audio and the video as well, when you say burgers, you're just talking about burger patties, not burgers with buns and how people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No buns for me, thank you. So what I would do is Tesco. There was a Tesco near my gym, so I'd go there, and they'd do like a 750-gram pack of 15% mints for like £7 or something, and I'd buy that red Leicester, and then depending on how hungry I was, I'd increase or decrease my eggs that would accompany said burgers and cheese, and I'd just eat them all day because it was so easy. Cook my burgers, put them in a glass Tupperware, go to the gym, do my stuff. If I'm really hungry, I have 2 burgers. Then I'll go home, have some eggs. If I'm not so hungry, maybe I have 1. It was literally that easy.
It is, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. It's so simple and easy. And my experience was exactly the same, constantly being told you've got to do cardio. And I mean, I was an advanced personal trainer, so I bought into that. I really thought that was true. And then when I went low carb, not even carnivore, when I went low carb, the weight came off. Not as dramatic as carnivore. And you just think, well, wow, I've been lied to all this time. I didn't need to do all that running and stuff.
None of that. So did you go keto first or something?
Yeah, I did low carb for a few years. When I got to 50, I started low carb. And then at 53, I did keto. And then when I got to 55, I started carnivore. And now here I am at 60, and it was like the best thing ever. The best thing ever.
Wow. Man,
Yeah.
I must say, you look incredible for 60. I thought you was about 45.
Oh, well, I'll take that. That's brilliant. Thank you. I mean, the only reason I smile so much is to get rid of my jowls and all that. I am 60, I promise you. But anyway.
Wow.
Thank you. That's really kind of you. So you're quite hardcore in the gym now, do you think? Or are you going to be doing shows and things, or is it just for general fitness?
No shows. For me, I've got a massive love for the gym because, this is what obviously I'm a coach. So this is what my coaching's based around is training, mindset and nutrition, because that's what took me from being, a fat weed smoking idiot to being like someone that I'm actually quite proud of these days. And, I've transformed my mindset with this approach. And, the carnivore, that really allowed me to build discipline. Because as I said, it really was like another drug addiction that I had to fight off. Like, I'm not going to eat these cakes. I'm not going to eat this rubbish. And, for full transparency, my problem of overeating actually came when I quit smoking. So when I stopped smoking weed, I would then cook myself a nice meal, quote unquote. And that would always be, this with rice. And then you're eating the whole pot. And then you're thinking, man, I'm fat. And then this is what allowed me to be like, I don't need that. And as you know, a lot of success is removal. So I removed the carbs. That was another drug addiction. I've got rid of the weed. And then I just started to just go all in and just be really actually in tune with my body. But as I said, at the time, I'd just become a level 3 personal trainer and nutritionist. And I was working in a bodybuilding gym. And I absolutely love bodybuilding. Like, I think it's so cool. The discipline, as you'll know, if you've trained people at a higher level, is like you have to be monogamous with this stuff. Like, same thing every day.
Yes, good habits. And they become
habits.
easy. Yeah, it is consistency, good habits. I hate the expression grinding it out because that implies it's really difficult. Yeah, it might be difficult some days, but I tell you what, I've never heard anyone at the end of a workout go, I really regret that. So it's not really a grind, is it? Once you start. Yeah, once you start, you're off. And
you know what, you've made an excellent point there, because I was actually having a call with a client the other week, and I said to him, and this is, he's very early in his journey, and I said to him, so how are you getting on this week? And he said, oh yeah, just trying to do everything. And I said, I can tell by the tone of your voice, it's long for you right now, as in it's effort. And he said, what do you mean? I said, bro, the reason it's long, the reason it's effort is because you haven't built the habits. Once you've built the habits, you just wake up and win. And I'd love the viewers to learn that one lesson. Even if you just get this one lesson from this podcast, it's just get your habits in place and your life will change massively.
Yes. And they become second nature. I know that is the meaning of habit, but it's just the same as nobody says, right, it's time to clean your teeth. Nobody says that really. Well, unless you're a kid of about 6, but you just do it. You don't think, well, that's a habit. You just do it. It's part of your life. And that's the thing that training should become if you're interested in keeping healthy and getting to the gym. It's not even an extra thing. It's what you do. You know, it's like cleaning your teeth. It's like doing those things. Once you look at it like that, I mean, I had a guy, you might like this story, who didn't like saying, I've got to get to the gym. So he put it in his mind that he would always walk to the gym. That's it. Not go to the gym and work out. I'll always walk. And then once I'm there, I might as well do some training. So it sort of softened the, commitment, and it just worked for him. He said, yeah. So I know that I just get up and go and have a walk. I just end up at the gym and then I work out. That's great. So I think whatever works for you is, what I would say to people, because you can't watch an influencer who says, you got to be in the gym, you got to be fasted at 6 o'clock in the morning, get there before everyone else. If that doesn't fit with your lifestyle, let's say you got a couple of kids or whatever, and that doesn't work because you've got to get them off to school, you find a habit that actually works for you, and then stick to it, because it just don't, when people say to me, when is the best time to train? I say it's when you can do it. All right. So if it's much more manageable for 7 o'clock in the evening to do it 3-4 times a week, do it at 7 o'clock in the evening. That's it. Because because if it's 6 o'clock in the morning and that's not doable, you're not going to do it. So obvious.
You've just jogged something in my mind as well, which is, I remember, again, when I was working in this bodybuilding gym, of course, I was kind of like an attraction there, because, you're talking to guys that are doing 1,000 grams of carbs on a leg day, and then you're saying, yeah, I've had 3 grams of carbs from this cheese for the whole day, and they're like, and I remember one of the guys said to me, he was like, what is it that you like about this diet so much? And I said, mate, to be honest with you, I said, do you know what the best diet is? I said, it's the one you can stick to. And for me, this is just easy, and I'm getting results. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. Like my knees, even prior to me being fat, my knees had hurt my whole life. And then literally within a few days of me being carnivore, they didn't hurt no more. And I was thinking, how is this possible? Like, I'm eating the beef I've always eaten, but now I'm just not eating it with anything else, and now my knees don't hurt. Like, it doesn't make sense. But obviously, the more, you delve into this, you're like, oh, okay, I was chronically inflamed, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's very interesting.
Yeah. Do you find that your friends and family or parents or whatever are all supportive for what you're doing, or do you get a bit of pushback from them?
Well, I've got a story for you here, Stephen. So my brother, I won't lie, he's a bit of a genetic specimen. He's 6'6" and, near enough shredded, and he's 99 kilos or something. He was vegan when I went carnivore. And we both, we'd come to this, we'd love gym together, and then we've gone our separate ways in terms of, he's gone that way, I'd gone the standard diet approach, and then we'd both come here again, and guess what? We're both fat, inflamed, feeling sad, and he was not in a good place. And I remember I gave him a leather jacket, and he said he can't wear it because he's vegan. And I said, mate, I think this has gone far enough now. Like, you're fat. And as I said, he's a genetic specimen. I said, you're fat, you're sad, you're just not in a good place. I think you need to change something now. You're taking all these weird supplements, like, it's obviously not working. And I'm a very, what's the word? I just won't stop, The reason he even goes to the gym in the first place is because I literally nagged him every single day for a year until he finally said, okay, I'm coming. Will you just stop talking about it? Like, that's how I am. And yeah, so long story short, he's come to the gym, he's gone his own way, then he's come back, he's fat now, and I've said, look, let's do carnivore. He's done it. Man, I'm going to send you a picture after the interview on Instagram. He looks incredible. And all because he went carnivore, and all his issues have gone away as well. My dad, he can't really get behind it. He's still partial to a cheese sandwich, unfortunately. My mum's keto now, so I guess we've won, really.
Yeah, you've done well there. And what about your girlfriend? Because you mentioned your girlfriend a couple of times.
So this is interesting. The best composition that she's ever got to was when she did carnivore with me. At the moment, she's not practicing the lifestyle. I don't want to hot her up, but the best results she's seen consistently has been on keto. And I think that's what we'll get back to. But in Albania, the food situation's a bit different. For me, it's quite easy because there's butchers that sell really nice meat, so I can just go and get my minced beef. But she's having a bit of a tough time, bless her, right now. But we're going back to Spain in December, so I imagine she'll be back on the keto. But on carnivore, she managed to stick with it for 3 months, and she lost 40 pounds. So she did well on it, and she's maintained that. Yeah. She's done really well. So I think with her, it's more of a sustainability issue. Um,
In what
which
respect? Is it
is
food she misses then or something?
Yeah, she sort of, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, and I'll be open to hearing if you've got any solutions. She sort of gets, quote unquote, the ick of eating the same thing every day, and then she'll just sort of go off kilter, which is very difficult for me to deal with as her partner because I know, and she knows as well. She even says to me, "I just want to be carnivore," but then he'll be eating eggs, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw up." And she's seen a few girls on TikTok talk about it.
Well, you can bring a bit of variety in. I mean, I actually offer a cookbook, which is sort of there. You can see at the back.
I'm buying it.
And variety. I mean, fish is pretty good, and shellfish. You can try sort of poultry, which is really good. You can have duck and goose, and you can have chicken. I think just a bit of variation, and also even just something like tallow, for instance. You get some tallow or beef dripping, as we call it up here up north and in England. You know what I mean? You get some of that. You can put that in a bowl, a little bit of salt, whisk it up, so you got this lovely fluffy thing. There's so many things to make it a little bit more interesting, and you can be creative if you want. And fish is really easy to cook, or you can have smoked salmon with cream cheese. So occasionally you can go off a little bit. I think with carnivore, her body composition was great. She lost a lot of weight and she felt really good, but she couldn't keep to it. Right, totally get that. And many people listening think, "Well, I don't understand. She felt brilliant," but it's a different thing. Food for some people is still a pleasure. I don't buy into this food is just nutrition, because in modern society, that's not the case. Some people like going out with their friends, for instance, having a coffee. Right, coffee is a thing I gave up because of the joint pain it bought at age 60. But if you have 1 cup of coffee a day, and that means that the rest of your life is carnivore, have that. I mean, coffee is a plant, so that's fine. I mean, just be realistic. If you miss an avocado, have an avocado as long as the rest of it is carnivore. And I think that's the thing. If you have a little bit of what you fancy, personally, I still think fish and poultry is a good thing, and maybe some cheeses. But if that's not enough, then I would pick something that's inoffensive that you can add to a steak, a little bit of avocado, chop it up. You can even pan fry that for a little bit. Make it completely different. Accept it as, right, it's not carnivore, but I'm 99% there. So I just feel you can do that sort of thing. What about your people that you coach, in your training capacity? Do you?
Oh, yeah. We've had some brilliant success with that. So, I've got a few case studies that come to mind straight away. There's one guy called Steph, and shout out to him, brilliant geezer. So I grew up with him, knew him for a long time. He's come to me, he wanted some help. The summary of it would be don't quote me on exact weeks, but let's say it was 15 weeks, just for argument's sake. He lost 24.5 kilos or thereabouts. And I remember asking him, yeah, it was incredible. And the before and afters are on my Instagram, and the before and afters were just mind blowing. But what was even more mind blowing was I said to him, "How do you feel?" And he said, "I've literally had back pain for the last 10 years. It's gone. And, I'm eating steak dipped in butter, and I've lost over 24 kilos. So how do you think I feel?" And I just thought, yeah, it's kind of a stupid question. Then there was another one of my guys called Brad. He's a great guy. He's still working with me to this day. He's now on a whole foods diet. But the interesting thing about this is before our main struggle, and as I said, he's a great guy, but we would always butt heads on food choices. So I am quite rigid in my approach where if you could show me that you'll make incredible food choices, I'm happy to give you a macro-based plan. However, for the majority, as you'll know, most people don't make good choices, which is why they're here. Me and Brad, we've been working together for quite some time. We'd had some good results, but I knew that there was another level to come. And I said to him, would you be interested in trying this carnivore diet? As you know, I do it rare. He said, yeah. We did it I would say within 15 days, he was reporting, I feel incredible. My energy levels are amazing. The check-in pictures were getting better and better and better. But this is the amazing thing that happened from it was after that, he was so sensitive to when we did start reintroducing carbohydrates and the kind of things he wanted, his choices got so much better because he'd had a lifelong affinity for pasta. And then he even said to me the other day, he was like, I never realized how bad it made me feel. I would eat this every single day and it would make me feel rubbish every single day. And now when I've had it, I've been like, this makes me feel awful. Like, why am I doing this to myself? And now we're at a place where he's got a great relationship with food. He would agree, and he said this to me as well, the best I've ever felt was on carnivore. It's actually sorted out digestive issues that he's had for so long. However, due to where he's at in his life, he's got a young baby, he's got a wife, and he's got a business to run. It's actually easier for him to just be on a whole foods diet. So what we did was reintroduce sweet potato, and he has white potato as well, and the vegetables that he likes, and then everything else is meat. So we're basically doing carnivore plus some, root vegetables and some potatoes, which is, for me, that's brilliant because it used to be chocolate muffins, pasta, and all the rest of it. So that's incredible. And we also know that any time that he really needs to lean out, it's just going to be a carnivore approach when his lifestyle sort of allows for it. But then this is another one. So I've got this guy, Reese, who's working with me currently. And he said, I've been having a real bad problem with just my food choices. And I've been dieting for a while and I've managed to lose 2 kilos. And, he's been burning the candle at both ends, so to speak. And now he's eating some burgers, and guess what? He's lost 15 kilos in the last 20 weeks. Inflammation's gone. Even the check-in pictures he would send me, he literally had red marks on his body, and that was inflammation, and now they're all gone. And it's just, oh man, it's beautiful to see, like, just healing these people with just something so simple and so easy to stick to as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, it's a sad world where it is all about weight loss, and that is what makes people click on things. And I'm going to ask you if I can put some of the pictures from your Instagram on the video, if that's okay, the people you mentioned.
Absolutely.
But it's also those things that you can't make into clickbait, really, like, the joint pain going. You said your hips were improved, your knee was improved, your mental health was improved. But that doesn't, from my experience on YouTube, is if you put a before and after picture on, you'll get more clicks. But it isn't about weight, just about weight. It's about health, isn't it? And I think the weight coming off is literally a side effect of eating this way, and you get your mental health back, get your inflammation gone. Just everything improves, as you put in the email to me. Well, I'll actually read it. Transformed my mental health and, of course, improved my life in so many other ways. You see, this is the thing. It seems to do so many things that, for me, I lost my athlete's foot. It doesn't sound that, that's a first world problem. But for 30, 40 years, I had athlete's foot. And as soon as I went carnivore, I just went. And I tried every remedy. And I used to have a stress spot here, which I don't think... Oh, go on. I've triggered you there. Did you used to get something like this then?
No, I don't even know how I've forgotten this. So I'm working with a brilliant young man right now called Gillo. What Gillo came to me for was accountability. Now, he previously had experience with the carnivore diet. He'd done it before. But this is what I'm going to say to people, guys. If you are going to do the carnivore diet, the first week or two, just eat until you're satiated. But then after that, if you do have serious composition goals, work with a coach that resonates with you, whoever that is, because once you get those macros dialed in, the changes that you're going to see are just going to be incredible. But what Gillo's done as well, as you said, this is what really triggered me was used and the side effect was he had a chronic skin condition and he had tried every single remedy that you could think of, apart from going carnivore. Now, when I was strict, the way that I work, I have my own app and they have to tick off their meals every single day. So I know exactly what you're having. And once we'd got to that 40-day mark of him being pure carnivore, no plants or anything like that, guess what? The skin condition that he'd had all those years, gone. And he's got a six-pack as a byproduct.
Yes. And that's it. I mean, you get all these great benefits and you're like me. You have so many good success stories, you forget them until someone mentions, yeah, I got somebody like that. I got somebody like that. And I didn't even, some people say, oh, it's just placebo or whatever, which is a ridiculous remark. But I didn't think, it can't be a placebo if you're not even thinking about athlete's foot going, or if you're not even thinking that your skin's going to get better. It's not placebo. It's a fact. It's an actual fact. We're not thinking, oh, carnivore's going to get us better. We'll give carnivore a try and see what happens. That's it. And it invariably works for people.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I'd like to believe that carnivore would allow me to time travel, That would be pretty cool. I guess I'll go make some burgers and see how it works. The funniest thing for me was people being like, yeah, when you go keto, you just lose loads of water weight. And I think, mate, I lost 14 kilos or 13 kilos in 30 days. Like, what? You're telling me that was all water? What was that, blue? It's just ridiculous. But what it is it doesn't fit the narrative that they've been told their whole life, go to the gym, do your steroids, eat your cereal, and you're going to be massive and win all these shows. It doesn't fit their narrative. And, that's why I've got so much respect for Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle. I've showed people his picture and they've been like, wow, he looks incredible. And I'm like, he's carnivore. And their face is like, they can't compute, like, how? How does he look like that and he's not eating carbs? It doesn't make sense. And they can't get their head around it. Oh, but you won't be able to do high-intensity activity. That guy, Gillo, I just mentioned to you, he does Muay Thai. He said, this is the most energy I've ever had. And I don't get any lactic acid build-up compared to the other guys in my shoulders. So I'm still going far after that. The other day, he was sparring someone. He was fasted and they tapped out before he did.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that's it. I mean, yesterday I had a massively long day where I had to go to that London. And, I was up first thing. If I'd have been a carb addict like I used to be, it would be factoring in, well, where am I going to get breakfast? I won't be able to last the whole day without breakfast. Oh, I've got to have a lunch, got to do that, because I won't be able to. And I bought into it. And you don't need all that. I just got on the train, I did the journey. I wasn't constantly thinking about food, because if you've got a little bit of extra body fat, and most human beings have some body fat, that's your food. That's the whole point of it. And it's great that you got so many success stories. Jonathan was one of the people who said, hey, you've got to check this guy out because he's very good. So a little shout out to Jonathan there. And I think that's the other thing. Keto Savage is another guy. He hardly touches any carbohydrates. He looks awesome. And I think it's just great that people can go to these extremes and prove everybody wrong and build lots and lots of muscle without carbohydrates. Absolutely, definitely can be done. I mean, I'm not putting myself in anyone's bracket. I got quite muscular. I was quite happy with that. I didn't do any cardio. I didn't do any carbohydrates. I put on, at age 57 to 58, put on 9 pounds of muscle, which is the most muscle I've ever put on in a year. And that's really extreme. I mean, that really is very tough at that age in particular without any supplements. So
wow.
I'm really happy that we've met actually. And I'll keep more of an eye on your Instagram. I'll put some of those things up, and obviously a link to your Instagram in the description, and also YouTube. So we don't have to spell it all out. Just look in the description to this video. Some people don't know what I mean by that. Under the video, they hide the description. You have to click show more, and then it will have all the stuff from here and loads of links and a little description, why it's called the video description, of what we talked about, and some timestamps as well. So Jackson John, it's brilliant to meet you. Is there anything you want to sort of sum up?
Absolutely. So I think you touched on an amazing final point, which would be if you're looking for freedom from being a slave to food, then you've found your way of living, because the catalyst for me actually going carnivore, to sum it up, was when I was working at that gym. I was opening the doors at 5 a.m. And I remember I made 1,000-calorie breakfast because I thought that will keep me going for a while. I remember driving to the gym. It's a 20-minute drive. I got there and I thought, I'm smashed. I need something to eat. And I thought, that's not right. This is not right. And I'm very fat. So I should be able to just go a couple hours without eating. But no, the carbohydrates, they'll make you a slave to them. And you'll never know the freedom that this life will bring until you try it. So just try it. You might surprise yourself, lose some weight, get a six-pack, improve your health, and just have a great time. So yeah, don't believe the lies. You gotta see it for yourself, and just listening to all these people that are brainwashed that you need to be eating cereal and all this sort of rubbish, because it's just a narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. We won't get too political, but Jackson, thank you so much for doing this.